Hello and welcome to my review of the Tyranid Lictor. This model will cost you £15.50. I think it's a web store exclusive model, and at present, the Sunday the 3rd of December, it's out of stock on Games Workshop's website, along with a few other things. The Carnifexes were out of stock for a long while. Now the Exocrines are, the Death Leapers out of stock. I think Gene Stealers are. So there's quite a few Tyranid models, and that is just as a result of the awesome new Tyranid Codex that came out, you know, kind of like an interest in Tyranids themselves. I've certainly just got into them because of the Codex and start collecting sets. So this model, the price point, I think that's about reasonable. Yes, it's fine cast, but I've never had any issues with fine cast myself. I know other people have with bubbling and things like that. But I think as long as you don't pick a model that has kind of rods or spindly long parts, then you should be all right. Let's face it, a Primaris Space Marine in plastic that has a lot less detail, like a Chaplain or Apothecary or something like that, is £22.50. So maybe that's not a fair comparison, but I'll show you a couple of size comparisons in a moment. So yeah, it is fine cast, but I think in my unboxing I must have pointed out all of the excellent detail that's on the model, including like the fibre bundles under the exoskeleton, all the ridges and the little claws and the ridges in between its the webs of his fingers, all of the little wedges and cutouts all along the sort of talons as well, and extra sort of detail and cutouts on the carapace too. So lovely looking model, quite old now. I'm pleased they did do him in resin though, or fine cast. Looks horrific. Looks like a cross between like a Gene Stealer and a Broodlord. I think a Broodlord did look a lot like this model before. You don't get any spare parts, you just get this model. I think it comes in 8 parts, I want to say. So not many parts, just super glue it and it'll go together wonderfully. No spare parts to show you, but what I will do is just show you some size comparisons. So straight away, I mentioned Gene Stealers. Here we go, here's the Gene Stealer. I think this is a good little comparison just to show you the size difference. Lictor is pretty big compared to even like a Gene Stealer. These are like the Vanguards. These are like the one of the first creatures on the planets other than sort of Gene Stealers, and they will go and infiltrate and suck out brains of kitty personnel and send weaknesses of the defense network of a population back to the hive mind and exploit those. So that's that. Next to a warrior, probably quite similar sized actually, next to a warrior, definitely kind of same kind of height. Warriors look pretty good. They've got a similar sort of tail. You know, quite. So if you've got warriors, Lictor is going to be similar kind of size. Lictor does look like he's got more presence just because he's got these big talons and things. But there you go. Next to like a bigger creature, I don't know whether it's a good sort of size comparison, but next to a Trigon. Trigon barely sort of fits on here, but there you go. Obviously he's completely dwarfed by Trigon. So anything sort of bigger than a Broodlord, which is here, you know, anything sort of bigger than a Broodlord is going to be, yeah, bigger than the Lictor. Haven't got a Death Leaper. I'm not that interested in the model or anything like that. I might give it another look at some point, but for me at the moment, the Lictor is what I wanted to get right now. And then what I'll do is I'll just compare him to a couple of Space Marines that I brought along. So here's your Mini Marine and your Primaris. He is actually only a little bit taller than a Primaris. So that's a good sort of comparison there. They're well-sized miniatures, I think, size-wise. And a Mini Marine just looks very, very small next to the Lictor. I think the Lictor is appropriately proportioned. I think maybe the Lictor could be a bit taller, but there you go. That's some size comparisons there between those three. And now this is my part of the review where I'll go through all of the rules for the Lictor. You'll find them in your brand new Tyranid Codex under Elites. There are quite a few elites in the Tyranid Codex, everything from sort of Hive Guard to the Lictor to Death Guard to the Death Leaper to Venomthropes, Zoanthropes, even the big Maleceptors in Elite section. Anyway, his power point cost is only 2, so he's really, really cheap to start off with. 2 power points. Points wise base, he will only cost you 41 points. So is that the same as a Terminator, I think? Let's go through his stat line, see if he's any good. So his movement is 9 inches. He's the same speed as a Death Leaper. He's faster than Gene Stealers. Obviously he's not as fast as like a Harpy, but it does make him one of the fastest units in the game. Not as fast as Raveners at movement 12 inches. His weapon skill is 2+. That is fantastic. That puts him in the same league as a Broodlord, as a Swarmlord, or a Tyranid Prime. They all have weapon skills of 2+. Obviously so does the Death Leaper. So he's a bit of a machine in combat based on that. His ballistic skill is 4+. His strength is 6, it's not too bad. Toughness is 4, again that's not too bad, although a lot of the creatures do have toughness 5. He's got 4 wounds, which again is 1 more than like Hive Guard. He's got 3 attacks, again more than Hive Guard. Leadership 9, more than Hive Guard. So leadership's very good. Death Leap is even better at 10. His save is only 5+ though, but we'll get onto the modifiers for that. So unfortunately his save is 5+, which is the same as Gene Stealers. It says that he's a single model armed with flesh hooks, grasping talons and rending claws. So the flesh hooks are a ranged weapon. They're only a range 6 inch though, so very short range. Assault 2, strength user, which will be 6, AP 0, damage 1, and it can be fired within 1 inch of an enemy unit and can target enemy units within 1 inch of friendly units. So there you go. That's a little 2-shot strength 6 weapon. Grasping talons. So strength user again, which is 6, AP -1, damage 2. The damage 2 is nice. Rending claws, again strength 6, AP -1, but damage is only 1. However, every time you make a wound roll of a 6+, the hit is resolved at AP -4. So each time he's coming in at 3 attacks with a strength 6, you wound, you get a 6, AP -4. So that's good that you get the chance of getting that AP -4. Although he's only got the 3 attacks, you know, it's nice to have that with the Rending Claws. Chameleonic Skin. Your opponent must subtract 1 from their hit rolls for attacks that target this model. I think that's just attacks as in, you know, melee attacks rather than ballistic shots. And in addition, add 2 instead of 1 to saving throws for the model when it's in cover. So you're going to need to be moving this guy around cover, getting that cover save, and adding the 2 to that cover save. Hidden Hunter. During deployment, you can set up a Lictor in hiding instead of placing it on the battlefield. At the end of any movement phase, the Lictor can spring from its hiding place, set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from the enemy models. You can reroll the Lictor's charge distance in the turn in which it uses the ability to arrive on the battlefield. So that's pretty cool that you can just place it in hiding instead of on the battlefield, and movement phase it just pops out, and then you've got something that can attack with 3 attacks at weapon skill 2 and use its flesh hooks as well, and it'll survive a little bit just because it's got the 4 wounds and the chameleonic skin. So it's nice that you've got a little secret sort of unit there that's quite cheap, like say, power level of only 2, only the price of a Terminator. Yes, he doesn't have an invulnerable save, but he does have that chameleonic skin, and he does have a chance of causing AP -4 wounds on models. So it's a nice little, I would have liked Games Workshop to have added a few more like little abilities to him, such as, you know, an extra one which would be Born Infiltrator or Apex Predator or something like that, like something whereby him being set up in hiding on the battlefield means that it affects the whole army's morale, or affects bunkers or woods or something like that, like the cover saves, like just something on top of all these abilities that it normally comes with. I won't talk about the Death Leaper too much, but the Death Leaper is power level of 5 and costs more than double the points at 90. But you are getting more wounds, 1 more attack, a better leadership, better chameleonic skin, and it's after me abilities too. So it does have some nicer, sort of better rules, but you are paying, you know, double points for that. So just bear that in mind. And if I were to get one, I'd obviously do a separate review. Anyway, how do you use your Lictor in your games? Please do put it in the comments below. It'd be fantastic to hear your experiences of one of these little creatures. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For the Norn Queen.